What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to an Adepticon Studios review of the AMG reveal at Adepticon 2025. So for anyone who has been paying attention in the know, Adepticon has been going over the course of this week, and as of Friday at 7:30 Central, so 8:30 Eastern Standard, AMG started their panel where they talked about their three games, which was Star Wars Shatterpoint, Marvel Crisis Protocol, and Star Wars Legion. This video, we're going to go over the Cole's notes of the Marvel Crisis Protocol one. So just to start all this off, there is not a lot of information out here, so these are going to be kind of like takes to see where the game is going and whatnot, and just kind of giving you a brief overview of everything that happened in a much more condensed way than if you were to try and catch the stream. And remember, guys, if you like this sort of content, you can do the channel a big favor by hitting that like, comment, and subscribe buttons. And, you know, if you want to support it monetarily, you can go to patreon.com/HSBrandStudios. A couple bucks a month keeps the lights on, keeps content current, all that sort of great stuff. And I can't thank you guys enough for that one. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first set of items that came up were actually a series of basically reboxings. These are kind of like affiliation boxes. In and of itself, that sort of stuff is not the most, not the most fascinating, not the most important aspect that we're touching with. But some of the information that came with it is actually really kind of cool, and that they are going to be using these affiliation boxes and reboxes as a way to not only bring product back to the market that maybe has been gone for a little while, but it's also going to be used to maybe do some once-over on some characters. So we're going to see a number of character updates this way. It sounds like this is going to maybe replace the grander character pack updates that we've seen in the past, where they take, 20 or so characters or something like that, and they just do them all at once. Instead, as they go through these boxes, maybe we'll get some drip feed character updates. Some of the names that they dropped with it were Colossus, Magic, Bullseye, and then, of course, we've already seen the new Gambit card because he was one of the prize wall items from Adepticon. Unfortunately, they have not actually told us what any of the new things were. Like, they didn't really reveal a lot of cards in that one, especially none of the rebalanced ones. But they did say that we can expect a rebalance pack in May. So that is really kind of cool. Obviously, as cycling through these pictures, you can see when certain boxes are coming out. They have them coming out, for quarter one, quarter two. But at the end of the year, they're also going to be starting to release basically the starter sets. And these are really cool products. These are perfect products for people who want to get into the game. If you have some locals who are kind of like, well, I like what's going on here, but there's 4, 5, 6 different boxes that they have to pick up in order to grab it, including the core set. These starter sets are definitely the type of product to bring new players into it. They've shown us an X-Men box. They've shown us a Spider-Foes box. They did also mention an Asgardian box and a Guardians of the Galaxy box. So very, very excited about that one. And what these boxes are, they are full roster. So 10 characters along with cards, tokens, range rulers, and movement widgets. Basically everything you need to play the game except for terrain. And this was done as a very specific way of bringing the price down. Entry cost into these ones are actually a very lean $90 US, which is stupidly good considering you're getting 10 characters with this one. Most character packs, no, actually for 10 characters, you're probably looking at spending, almost double, if not triple that in some cases. So really awesome starter pack. Really excited to see these ones at the table. They did say that some would kind of be staples. I believe they hinted at X-Men being a staple one. Others might be rotating in and out, so the Spider-Foes could only be around for a little while there. But very, very cool product that we're going to be getting in the future for it. Next up, they started actually showing off some painted versions of models that we saw in Render last Adepticon and Mini Stravaganza. So obviously we have the painted up Avalanche, Exodus, and Lady Mastermind. They hinted at they're kind of going back to sort of like big threat Brotherhood style models for these ones. So very excited for this one. We're going to be seeing them in quarter two of this year, and just see some revitalization for the Brotherhood in that regard. They also showed off more of the Web Warriors box that we have coming up. So we've seen painted versions of Spider Noir, of Silk. Who else was in there all of a sudden? Spider Ham, which very excitingly, there is a 2-threat character coming with Spider Ham. Didn't think we'd be seeing that one again. And Spider-Man 2099. But in addition to that, we have actually also seen reveals for a Prowler model and an Ultimate Miles Morales Spider-Man. So very cool things coming in Q3 of this year for the Web Warriors fans. Some nice new, nice and alternative Miles in there. They did say that Spider-Man 2099 was supposed to be sort of like a Web Warriors Bruiser type character. So going to be very exciting to see what that actually entails, what that actually kind of means for the Web Warriors. Because right now, you know, they play a very objective-based game. They don't really want to get into those scraps. So very excited for that one. So moving on, because they covered a lot of ground here. Let's see. We also saw some new models hit the table with Blue Marvel and Spectrum. Now, unfortunately, I don't know a lot about these characters in the comics and whatnot. I will say Blue Marvel's model actually looks pretty darn cool. I do like the blues, blacks, all this sort of stuff. Very nice. Spectrum's, yeah, I can't really speak to it. It looks okay. Doesn't look great. It doesn't look awful or anything like that. But we can expect that at the end of the year, Q4. Not only that, but next quarter, we are also finally looking at the release of the Phoenix. Now, this one's really kind of cool because she has 2 forms, Phoenix and Phoenix Unleashed. From what it looks like, she does not have a dazed or an injured side. So basically, she is a 6-threat character. She starts off as Phoenix, and she's going to be accruing Phoenix tokens as she goes along. And as soon as she is either dazed or collects 3 Phoenix tokens, she is at the start of an activation. She's basically going to become Phoenix Unleashed. And this one's kind of an interesting one because she kind of goes from sort of a character that kind of deals damage, but also supports her allies into just a real bruiser of a character. Now, thankfully, we did happen to see both sides of her cards because there were early cards given away for anyone who attended Worlds at Adepticon. So just another reason why I'm a little sad I wasn't able to go myself. So we will talk about that card in a different video and whatnot. But gorgeous model where we're seeing the flame pillars here, and she looks like she has some really cool ways of interacting with terrain and characters around her. We've also seen painted up versions of Ronin, Echo, and Tigra. I'm not quite sure how that's pronounced there. Gotta say, Echo looks very kind of basic, but I love Ronin's pose, colors, all that sort of stuff. And Tigra has some nice motion going on with her particular character. So, and I believe they said that these were going to be defenders coming to the game. So, you know, we're getting a little bit of extra love for the defenders who, you know, after Daredevil's leadership update, you know, they've been seeing some new life. So very excited for that one. Then we're moving on to the reveal. So these ones are all the characters that they just have renders of that got a lot of excitement as they were announced. So we'll go over these in the order that I have them here. So with Q1 2026, so this is still a year away, we got Adam Warlock, Moondragon, and Quasar. So there's also a theme that we're noticing here that these character packs we're moving away from the 2 character packs. We're starting to see more 3s, more 4s, which is a very interesting thing. Something that they indicated with this pack here is that it's going to be bolstering the cosmic side of things, but it's also bringing back the Infinity Gem mechanics in an interesting way, according to Shek. So very excited to see more of these as more information comes out. But I would say probably the biggest news that come out of this is that we are going to be getting annual rotations of Crisis cards. It started with the War of Kings this year. Next year, it is going on to a very Sentinel-themed one as they gave off X-Men versus Sentinels. And what better way to kick that off? Sentinels are getting some upgrades here. We are finally getting Nimrod, Bastion, and the Omega Sentinel. And frankly, the Nimrod model looks fantastic. I'm very excited about this one. It's going to be very cool to have it on the table. It's going to be neat to see what the Sentinels can do with this extra little bit of oomph to it. Sadly, we have to wait a year to get these ones. for something so cool. It's just really a shame with that one. But to go with those, we are also getting some additional mutants in the form of some X Factor. We're finally getting Havoc, Multiple Man. We're also getting Danny Moonstar, and we're getting Jubilee. And as Schick said during the presentation, we have all the X-Men 97 done at this point, which is really kind of cool. We got those cores in there. So very excited about that one. Multiple Man obviously has Multiple Man grunts. So, really, really neat to see them doing that. I'm never a huge fan of the grunts myself, but it is still kind of neat to see that they're not abandoning mechanics as they go on here. In addition to that, we have a series of characters that, as Schick said, is all connected to two versions of the Iron Man suits here, in that we have Iron Lad, Ironmonger, Rescue, and King the Conqueror. So it's great. We're seeing another big villain come out. This is going to be early Q1 of 2026. That Ironmonger model, the render looks really great at the moment. I'm not so hot on King, but I've always felt his design is just kind of a little goofy to begin with. But it is great to see these characters going to be hitting the table. And then we have, finally, after many people have been asking about it, we have the Elendil and Warriors 3 along with Valkyrie. Now, this one is not the Brunhilde Valkyrie. This is the Valkyrie from, what are they called? The Exiles Valkyrie. So she's just known as Valkyrie. But, Valkyrie on a Pegasus. Looks really sharp. Nice big model. Great to see the Warriors 3 finally. Might be a low thread addition to Asgard, which they're really kind of looking for and really kind of want. And then we just have the final roadmap that I guess we're looking at. Now, what these are basically the characters that I think they basically indicated we can expect to see in either affiliation boxes, starter boxes, all that sort of stuff. But it also gives us an idea of this is the general order in which they are going to be looking at characters over the next 2 years. So if you see a name on this list, that is an indication that they could be being looked at, maybe being rebalanced, toned down a little bit, maybe beefed up a little bit. It's obviously not set in stone, but it's really cool to have this. Gives us an idea of what to look forward to. The only downside about this one, and it's a trap that Games Workshop fell into 2 years ago, that if we know about things well too far in advance, it could potentially slow down purchases in the future or in the present. So, take that with a grain of salt. I would say don't let it stop you from picking up models that you want and all that sort of stuff, because we know that they're going to be getting reissued, re-released, all that sort of stuff. And of course, those rules are still functional right up to the point where they're changed. And then lastly, we have the timeline. So this just kind of shows off what to expect for the remainder of Q2, Q3 for this year, and then early Q1, Q2s of next year. So there we go. That is the AMG panel reveals for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Some very cool stuff. Very notable omissions there. Obviously, we have not seen the Fantastic Four yet. But here's the thing, Adepticon has never been their big reveal one. Their big reveal one is generally mini extravaganza in the summer. I know a lot of people have really been saying that this is the year for Fantastic Four. Their comics have been a lot more popular. We have the movie coming out of the MCU. They've just been added to Marvel Rivals. It seems weird that we don't have them just yet. Everyone wants Doom. There's still a chance they're coming. Honestly, at this point, I'm not sure what to say. It's almost could become a bit of a running joke that the Fantastic Four got skipped over. And I know there's people out there who are very upset about it. But overall, this is a really nice slate of releases coming out for it. Now, obviously, some people are going to look at it and say, well, that seems a little light given what we've seen in the past. There is a reason for that. It does sound like Star Wars Legion is kind of their big focus, their big push this year as they reissue a lot of stuff for that one. So unfortunately, that does mean resources from their other games do have to be reallocated. But what we are getting still feels very strong. And obviously, as I mentioned, we still have a mini extravaganza coming up. So we could still learn a lot more come the summer. So keep your fingers crossed, and we'll be here to sort of share our thoughts and opinions on it as they come out. So there we go. Leave your thoughts below. What did you like? What did you not like? What were you hoping to see? What surprised you? What was on your bingo card? Because there was a lot of stuff on here that was not on my bingo card. I think the Sentinels and maybe a little bit more X-Men, X-Factor was the ones that were on my card there. Everything else was kind of a surprise there. So yeah, share your thoughts below, and we'll see you next time. Happy wargaming.